Hello, everyone. To begin with, I always found, growing up, I guess I wasn't aware of that, and I left Switzerland when I was 20. And, but then when I got here, the interesting thing is growing up Catholic, and Switzerland is basically, I don't know, I guess still 80% Catholic. And there is a church tax on everybody's taxes. Yes, yeah. Whoever is a Catholic, registered Catholic, pays a church tax. Yes, it's in government. Yeah, yes, yeah. That's how Catholic Switzerland is. I'm not sure how it works in other European countries, but then I got here, and there, I was amazed over all the different denominations and this and that, and oh my gosh, I mean, it was whoa. Yeah, I went and tried out a lot of different churches, and even while then I found the Unification Church, which whoa, everyone like that's why I came to the United States to find that one. Yes, okay. Well, anyway, if you go through my videos, 1,000 plus, you'll find out why I was so excited about that. Then I went to some Buddhist meetings, this and that, which I don't know. Do people actually who believe in Buddhism do that? Do they get together? As far as I know, they go to temples and worship there. Yes, then they have their scholars that teach them, about Buddhism in a way, and then the monks and this and that. But as far as do they have a book? Oh yeah, the Tao. Yeah, but that's not. Is that? Does everybody have a Tao at home and reads it? I have one, and I started, and I'm going, man, I'm gonna have to learn first about all them symbols in there. What does that all mean? And so I wonder, but here in the United States, you can go to meetings, and they primarily pray for their own self, their own things that they want: a car, a house, money, a love relationship, I mean, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, as I said, I went to some, and the first one, so I went to some meals, that interesting. I thought it was always that monks would come to you for a meal, but here they are. Don't get me wrong, temple, what's it called? Cuisine is very interesting. I watched this one lady, and oh, I loved it. I loved it. Okay, it was so great. Learned so much from her when it comes to cooking and stuff. And but to get back to, yeah, I left that one that where they were. I'm not gonna sit here. This is ridiculous. What are these people doing? Anyway, I left. I didn't say anything. I just, oh, this is not for me. There were other places I went, and this big old just explosion of religion, right, in this country. Again, it's a free country. You can do it here. I'd say as long as you stay peaceful about it, okay? And but then I heard this, yeah, the separation of state and church. I said, what? How can you separate God out of this, a government? When, what are we reading here in the Old Testament all about, where God's all supposedly involved, right? Yes? Well, he's involved somewhat, but not in a way, as again, according to the Old Testament, right? God's all about government and kings and the laws and right? Yes? Okay. Well, in any case, so just want to let people know out there, you can't take God out of anything. It's not possible. And when I think of Switzerland, where that's definitely that there is no separation of church and state there, absolutely none. And I'd say if you go and look in any religion, gosh, take Islam. That's all about government. It's all about control, right? Religion is all about control over the people. Yes, and eradicate anything, or more or less. Yeah? I mean, I said some of the practices that they have, the honor killings, for example. If a woman gets raped, then her own family will. The woman gets raped. Nothing happens to the guy, but the woman pays the price. That's how weird is that? Okay, just saying. Maybe they don't do that anymore. But as far as I know, they even had to stop some people from doing that here in the United States. Whoa. Anyway, this country supposedly was founded in God We Trust. Yes? So anybody out there who thinks that religion or God does not belong in the government, well, you're wrong. And so here is another thing that, okay, how about I read first? And then I think the reason so many things go wrong everywhere, or could go wrong, or more wrong, or have been gone wrong, and then they have to be restored again, is because people try to annihilate God out of his own creation. And that, my dear people, is the weirdest thing I have ever come across. Alright, so let's get going on 32 here in the book of Jeremiah. D. Additions to the book of consolation. These now are really long. This is over almost 2 pages. It is 2 pages. Okay, Jeremiah buys a field in token of future prosperity. Jeremiah, he is a prophet, which means he's most likely, or should be, according to on how God established the tribes of Israel, a Levite. And Levites do not inherit anything. Definitely no land. So what is he doing? Let's find out. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh in the 10th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, the army of the king of Babylon was then besieging Jerusalem, and the prophet Jeremiah was confined in the court of the garden, the king of Judah's palace, where Zedekiah, king of Judah, had confined him, saying, "Why do you keep prophesying like this? Yahweh says this, I am going to hand the city over to the king of Babylon, and he will capture it. And Zedekiah, king of Judah, will not escape the clutches of the Chaldeans, but will certainly be handed over to the king of Babylon. Speak to him personally and see him face to face. He will take Zedekiah away to Babylon, and there he will stay until I attend to him, Yahweh declares. If you fight the Chaldeans, you will not succeed." Jeremiah said, "The word of Yahweh has been addressed to me as follows. Look, Hanamel, the son of your uncle Shalom, will come to you and say, buy my field at Anathoth, for you have the right of redemption to purchase it." What did I just say beforehand? So what? God is flip-flopping with his, in the way that he established the tribes, and every tribe was given a job to do. And here now he goes, oh, well, I'm going to just, God does not work that way, people. So Jeremiah is, again, I guess he wants it. So he's figuring out a way where he can have it. "And as Yahweh had said, my cousin Hanamel came to me in the court of the garden, said, buy my field at Anathoth in the territory of Benjamin, for you have the right of inheritance and right of redemption. Buy it. I knew then that this was Yahweh's order. Accordingly, I bought the field from my cousin Hanamel of Anathoth and weighed him out the money, 17 silver shekels. I drew up the deeds and sealed it, called it in witnesses, and weighed out the money on the scales." Wow, it's amazing on how much how do you say it? Concern is given here on how that land was bought, kind of to detract from the fact that, Jeremiah, what are you doing as a prophet? Or are you a prophet? I think you can only be a prophet if you are a Levite in Israel. Well, I'm just saying from what I read before in the Bible, and let's take that out. So then this here won't cause any conflict. Yes? Okay. Just saying. That's it. I drew up the deeds, and so just make sure that it all was done properly. Disregarding the fact that, are you supposed to be doing this? No. I drew up the deeds and sealed it, called in witnesses, and weighed out the money on the scales. I then took both the sealed deed of purchase with its stipulations and clauses and its open copy, and handed over the deed of purchase to Baruch, son of Neriah, son of Maaseiah, in the presence of my cousin Hanamel, of the witnesses who had signed the deed of purchase, and of all the Judeans who then happened to be in the court of the guard. Amazing that detail here. Amazing. Such useless. Well, let's see. Maybe there is the reason why. In their presence I gave Baruch this order. Yahweh Sabaoth, God of Israel, says this: take these deeds, the sealed deed of purchase and its open copy, and put them in the earthenware pot, so that they may be preserved for a long time. For Yahweh Sabaoth, God of Israel, says this: houses, fields, and vineyards will again be bought in this country. After I had entrusted the deed of purchase to Baruch, son of Neriah, I prayed to Yahweh as follows. Okay, if you're being taken over by another country, I don't think deeds matter anymore. Our Lord Yahweh, you made the heaven and the earth by your great power and outstretched arm. To you nothing is impossible. You show faithful love to the thousands, but repay the father's guilt in full to their children after them. Great and mighty God, whose name is Yahweh and Sabaoth, great in purpose, mighty in deed, whose eyes are open on all human ways, rewarding every individual as that person's ways and actions deserve. Man, I could say so much to all this, but I gotta read because this is a long one. You performed signs and wonders in Egypt, as you still do in Israel and among humanity today. You have won the name for yourself which is yours today. You brought your people, Israel, out of Egypt with signs and wonders, with mighty hand and outstretched arm and fearsome terror. They always bring this up when it's convenient. Then you gave them this country which you had promised on oath to their ancestors, a country flowing with milk and honey. They then entered it, taking possession of it, but they would not listen to your voice nor follow your law. They would do nothing you ordered them to do. And now the excuse of why things aren't going well. And so you made this total disaster befall them. Look, the earthworks are already in place to take the city, and by means of sword, famine, and plague. The city is now within the clutches of the Chaldeans attacking it. As I said, how is a deed going to do anything now? What you said, they're not going to go and ask for a deed. They just take it, right? I guess kind of like the Israelites did when they found their land. I don't know, were there other people there who said, hey, what are you doing? Did it matter then if the people before the Israelites, wherever the Israelites settled down, had a deed? Oh, okay. So again, what are we being told? Wow. What kind of God is that? What you said has now come true, as you see. Yet you yourself, Lord Yahweh, told me, buy the field. Yeah, let's make sure God told him to do that. Buy the field, pay for it, have it witnessed, although the city is already in the Chaldeans' clutches. The word of Yahweh was addressed to me as follows: look, I am Yahweh, God of all humanity. Is anything impossible to me? Alright, I also see okay, well, if you substantiate something, then then it has a foundation, and the foundation stays, right? Yes? Just not sure if this is a really good example of that when it comes to many other things. So Yahweh says this: I shall hand this city, if the best foundation isn't within your heart and mind. Yes? No one can trample on that. No, unless you let them. Unless you start to change your mind about things that you shouldn't. Yes? That's the best foundation. You take that with you too, no matter where you go. Don't have to bury it anywhere. Just saying. So Yahweh says this: I shall hand this city over to the Chaldeans and to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he will capture it. The Chaldeans attacking the city will enter it, fire it, burn it to the ground, with the houses on whose roofs incense has been offered to Baal and libations poured to other gods to provoke my anger. For the people of Israel and Judah alike have done nothing but what displeases me since they were young. The people of Israel, in fact, have done nothing but provoke my anger by their action, Yahweh declares. If it's really the case that it was God's will for all this to burn down, this and that, destroy a whole city here, whatever, then Well, why did because of what the people did, right? Worship Baal. Right? Why didn't he stop that? Why didn't he step in there and say, "Hey, burn down their altars," and say, "Yeah, that ain't gonna happen." I'm just asking. If God has this power to just burn down a city because he's mad and angry because they're not following him, why not take it out on the altars then that they had? Right? Yes? Why not step in before one has to burn down a whole city if you got that kind of power? Yes, see? Okay. The people of Israel, in fact, have done nothing but provoke my anger by their actions, Yahweh declares. Yes, from the day when the city was built until today, it has been such cause of anger and wrath to me that I mean to remove it from my sight, on account of all the wickedness the people of Israel and the people of Judah have done to provoke my anger. They, their kings, their chief men, their priests, their prophets, the people of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They turned to me their backs, never their faces, and though I taught them so urgently, so untiringly, they would not listen and accept correction. Instead, they set up their horrors in the temple that bears my name to defile it, and built the high places of Baal in the valley of Ben Hinnom, to burn their sons and daughters alive in honor of Molech. Yeah, that's pretty terrible if that actually happened. That is, why would anyone do that? Oh my God. Ugh. Oh, how can people even do that? And they want the bystanders. Oh, gives me a headache. Ugh, I can't. No. A thing I have never ordered, that had never entered my thoughts, that they would cause Judah to sin by anything so loathsome. So now, I have to agree with that. So now, this is what Yahweh, God of Israel, says about this city, of which you know and say. And again, if God is so powerful to do that, right? And supposedly has done all this stuff, burning down cities, and yeah, you're going, and that's all God's doing. Why didn't he save those babies from being burned alive? Why watch? That would make him guilty too, wouldn't it? Aha. You see? The nonsense we're reading in here when it comes to the reputation of God. Ugh. Oh. So now this is what Yahweh God of Israel says about the city, of which you now say, by means of sword, famine and plague, it is already within the king of Babylon's clutches. Look, I shall gather them in from all the countries where I have driven them in. My anger, my fury, and great wrath. I shall bring them back to this place and make them live in safety. Then they will be my people, and I shall be their God. Who came up with this? I shall give them singleness of heart and singleness of conduct, so that they will always fear me for their own good, and that of their children after them. They will always fear me for their own good. Huh? That's so sad to read. I shall make an everlasting covenant with them. Okay, again. Never to cease in my efforts for their welfare, and I shall put respect for me in their hearts, so that they will never turn away from me again. My joy will lie in them and in doing them good, and I shall plant them firmly in this country with all my heart and soul. For Yahweh says this, just as I have brought this complete and total disaster on this people, so I shall bring them all the good things I have promised them. Man, you know what? This sounds so much like you beat somebody into submission and then promise them something, but I will take good care of you as long as you behave. Who does that exactly? Who does that? Who has done that in human history? Definitely not God. Fields will again be bought in this country, of which you now say it is a wasteland without human or animal, already in the clutches of the Chaldeans. People will buy fields, pay money, draw up deeds, seal them, and have them witnessed in the territory of Benjamin, in the districts round Jerusalem, in the towns of Judah, of the highlands, of the lowlands, and of the Negeb, for I shall bring back their captives, Yahweh declares. All right. Ugh, done with this one. All right. All right. Okay. So, my opinion is there shouldn't be any need for drawing up deeds and I don't know what. And I tell you why. Because if everyone around you were an honest, good person, one wouldn't go and want to take some what belongs to someone else or is tended to by someone else. Keep it, use it, but never abuse it. Yes? Okay. Last thing, really quick. I saw a senator questioning a doctor, and I guess they came up. Again, they have to come up with all these laws and bills because the people are what? Drill and sawdust comes out on both sides. So they had to draw up a bill where a human being is going to be regarded according to facts and science, right? Established facts and science, okay, when it comes to biological stuff. And they had this doctor there, and the senator asks her, can a man get pregnant? She wouldn't answer the question. And it goes on, and he comes, okay, well, according to what we just established with science and facts, and you are a doctor, biologically, can a man get pregnant? She wouldn't answer the question. This is a woman, a doctor. It was quite comical in a way, but I could tell the senator was just like, you've got to be kidding me. He was very good, I have to say. He said all the right things in a way where I'm going, okay, well, what is this woman stupid? Well, she was for the opposition where, as I said, all this gender stuff. And of course she couldn't say, no, a man can't get pregnant. Yet, the senator told her, I don't know how many times, you can't tell the truth. You cannot say yes or no. Eventually she got into this defensive stand of, you are coercing an answer here. Or what? Wow, this is exactly what they do. This is what the Democrats do. This is what all these people are doing out there that are seriously confused about things. Simple things. Like, what is a man and what is a woman? For example. Anyway, I think I shared it. I couldn't help myself. And I would suggest to everyone out there, because that's what I will be doing from now on, when I go and see a doctor or make an appointment, I will ask, does your doctor know? Or ask the question, can a man get pregnant? And if they can't answer the question, I'm not going to see that doctor. Yeah. I think you should ask any doctor that. If it's your therapist or your psychiatrist or your dentist, you need to know if these people have their head on straight. Because if they don't, who knows what they're going to do to you. What they're going to prescribe to you without knowing if that may affect your physical body as a man or as a woman. Just saying. Beware. I have one more minute and I will mention that. Beware what the doctors are giving your children. I just came across a case, very close to our family, not in our family, but close friend, whose daughter has been, she had serious complications at the age of 13 with something, and then it went from there. This young child, who's now in her later teens, was on so many medications, this and that, prescribed, that I don't think her body can function without it. And they just cut her off. They're not getting their prescriptions filled. Okay, and some people say, well, yeah, maybe they're okay. You do not know the history of this child. She has been under the care of doctors for many, many, many years. Prescribed all kinds of stuff. Then here's one doctor who says, I think she's making it up. Well, I don't think she made up what she had at 13. Okay, it was breast cancer. She had breast cancer at the age of 13. I don't think she made that up. Or did the doctors make that up? And then it went from there. She had complications with the treatment, this and that. Then it went from there. All kinds of other things started to happen in her system. Now a doctor decides that she does not need any of these medications anymore and they can't get their medications filled. Whose fault is that? Even if that young lady's body is so dependent on these medications now that if they stop it all, she could have a heart attack or a stroke. Nobody cares. That's terrible, isn't it? Yeah. Doctors. Anyway, ask him, can a man get pregnant before you have anything to do with any of them out there? Just saying. Okay? Yes? Alright, that's it. That's all I have to share this morning. May Heavenly Parent bless and protect you, guide you, embrace you with love. Eldridge, my dearest brother in faith, I love you. Let's keep praying, and I will talk to y'all another time.